brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
What's got around the back? And Richard Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us on what will be a happy episode, full of positivity. Other than a slight whinge at the referee, it's going to be full of positivity tonight, sure. So, yeah, thank you all for being with us. Mick's back with us, first of all. How was life?
Yeah, it was. Well, has it finished?
Nobody told me. Okay.
Pretty much same as it always has been. But thanks for asking anyway.
Scott's back. How are you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks for having me.
Good. That's how it should be done, Mick. No snide comment. No snide thing. Just pleasantries at this point in the show. Kev's back. How you doing, Kev?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Cheers for having me.
Top stuff. And Steve's back. How you doing, Steve?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good to have everybody back with us. Let's start with some kind of sad news that came out today. Darren J, Saturday Millers fan, sadly passed away. I never met Darren personally, but whenever we put anything on Facebook, Darren's one of the first names that ever came up commenting on basically everything. But Kev, you're just trying to raise awareness for the 57th minutes applause that we want to do for the Leyton Orient game Saturday.
Yeah, just a bit of shout out to Sam Todd as well. He's gonna put Darren's picture up on big screen as well before game and all. Because honestly, I'm a Mexican lad, me, and Darren, he's probably the biggest Miller I ever knew, and it was one of the reasons why I fell in love with the club initially. Because when I was like 12, 13, growing up and going at games, he was 8 or 9 years older than me, and he's the most passionate Miller I've ever seen in my life. And I knew we were last time at Millmore when they had the open day last year, and he told me about the cancer and. He kept it to himself. He didn't bleat on Facebook or Twitter and wore me. He just such a nice guy. Leaves a couple of kids behind. Just he'll be sorely missed by a lot of Rotherham fans who were very popular.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll mention this again on Thursday, obviously, ahead of the game. But really sad news and obviously thoughts with his family and obviously friends as well. Onto the game and people are with us. Gary and Coa says, very good evening, lads. What a week of positives. Sarah's with us as well. Paul Rose evening. Nice to get the away win despite the dodgy pen. Dave Lawton is with us. Miller's 6th evening. Everybody, what a win. Steve's with us. Nick Newsom's with us. Loads of people with us, as you'd expect with a win. So thank you all for being with us, Mick. Mick, it was one of those perfect games where it was really, really good, but you still have the one real thing to complain about in the penalty as well. It's just what you want. All good stuff, but still something little to talk about.
It wasn't all good stuff, was it? You know, the penalty we'll come on to, we'll talk about. But from the penalty to half time, I think we were pretty poor. You know, we got our heads went down a little bit. We weren't really in the game. We weren't as positive and as we were prior to that goal going in, and we weren't pressing quite so much. And I think it affected us still conceding that goal. It didn't have an impact on the game ultimately because we came out in the second half and basically just gaffed them for the whole match. So it's a real positive, definitely overall. But there are still some areas of weakness, aren't there? I think.
Yeah, of course there are. Yeah, absolutely. We'll come into the specifics in a minute, Scott. But just the positive vibes around the place. Obviously, there was some negative stuff at half time. As you'd understand, we were losing, and as Mick mentioned, we weren't playing particularly well. But the entire Rotherham sphere seemed incredibly positive place to be on 90 minutes yesterday, which is it's different place to be. But there was so little to complain about at the end of the day that it was a relief and positivity and everything that comes along with it. It was just a good place to be, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah, I think that were a massive second half, weren't it? Because, like Mick said, I thought we started off the first half pretty well, and maybe could have been a goal or two up, and then they started just kind of putting a few long balls over top, and you're thinking, somebody just deal with it, and no, and it weren't, and they were getting on top of me. The pen, it's never a penalty. I saw a few people saying they could see why he gave it, but maybe if they were at the match and they saw it live, possibly, but anybody who's seen the replays, I think the second replay where it shows you there's no touch at all. And then, like Mick said, I think we were kind of just needed to get into half time 1-0 because we'd seemed to have gone. We were kind of there taking a bit, but it was so positive the second half. I think the subs changed it, and then to finish like that, you'd hope that this is now a bit of a kickstart. Kind of undone a few, a bit of adversity, and we've not rolled over. We've come back from that.
Yeah, I agree. Harry says last week he was leaning Hampshire out. This week he might go on that double Wembley bus from last season. We're still in 3 competitions technically, Harry. Could be a triple Wembley visit. You never know. Brian Burns says the togetherness of the lads and management at full time was there for all to be seen. And Steve says I thought the crowd were good, even at 1-0 down, cheering them on, and didn't hear any negativity, which is obviously brilliant as well. Let's kind of go through the game a little bit, Kev. But first, up until the penalty, there wasn't much in it. But we were the better team for me. Sharif should have scored. McWilliams should have scored. There was another half chance where Benson maybe should have done better on the angle. It was a good start from us up until the penalty. People saying it was rubbish first half. It was all right until the penalty for me.
I totally agree. I think I put on Twitter yesterday that best, we were in front. I got Slave saying I never said we were playing well. I just said we were the better team. Admittedly, probably the better of 2 bad teams, but we did have, like you just said, Sharif could have had a couple. McWilliams should have scored. We could have quite easily been out of sight by the first half. I just think that penalty did knock us. Like what Scott says, I don't see how referee could have given that at all. He had a brilliant view as well. He were only 5 yards away, clearest view ever, and it were almost like he couldn't wait to give it. I think the problem with that is the Premier League referee, and what they do generally is give the penalty and go to VAR and get it overruled or yes or no. And I think he was just stuck in his head. I think I'll give that. Oh shit, there's no VAR. But I thought first half very positive. Like I said, I don't think we're brilliant, and the way that concerned about how they dropped the heads straight away as soon as the goal went in. That were a bit of a worry, but I'm going to put that down to the fear factor, the confidence, the desperate for that away win, and I think it just got a bit too much to him. And then they regathered at half time and came out a different team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Hall had a good chance as well. With the same 5 minutes. Yeah, Steve. It's one of those games that had we lost the game 1-0 and it petered out into nothingness, it still was. There was still positives to take from that first half, even though we're going to go into negatives and the reaction kind of thing. We didn't play particularly well, but we were still better than the team who were in actually pretty good form before Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we weren't bad at all in the first half, apart from that 20 minutes after the game, as you guys have just said. But I mean, it reminded me a bit of the Bristol Rovers away game last year, where we actually poked out a win from nowhere, and it does feel good in the second half when you do actually win a game a bit late on. I mean, personally, I don't look at Twitter during the game, and what shocked me a little bit is that when I looked at full time, there were the usual suspects were losing their backsides at half time about it, and I'm sure. Well, let's put him up against the wall and shoot him because he's rubbish, he's naive, and all this kind of stuff. I waited till the end of the game. Unfortunately, there was a lot more positivity about when we'd finished the game. And we certainly deserved to win that game because Northampton were just old man for a change. It's usually us that gets old man, but they were old man. I think they had 1 foreign into our box in the second half, as far as I can remember. And we could have had 3 or 4 in the second half to add to the 2 that we should have had in the first half. So it should have been a lot better. And also, I thought the smiles, one of the guys has put on here, the smiles that you could see at the end on the players and the excitement was fantastic. The way they were all hugging each other. Even Hampshire was getting hugs from 2 or 3 of the players, and he was hugging them. So, I mean, call me a bit of a bit of a wokey, but I love that sort of thing. It makes me feel like they're together, and together we have more of a chance.
Yeah, we do, absolutely. And we'll come on to that, the positives of the second half in a minute. But these guys have kind of alluded to the penalty. Paul Tierney, former Premier League referee, former VAR official last season before he got demoted. He had a poor game in general. Again, we'll talk about the Benson free kick that there was a foul on Denzel Hall later on, but like Kev's mentioned it, I wonder if he's got caught in that VAR mindset of I'll check it anyway. But there's no excuse. It's a really, really bad decision, that penalty.
Well, if he has got caught in that mindset, there's no excuse for that either, really.
No, I agree.
You know, he's only got to look around him to see that he's not in Premier League. You know, he's at Northampton. And justifiably so, it would appear, given that decision and his overall performance. But, I don't really know what to say. I mean, everybody said it, haven't they? Ultimately, it was definitely not a penalty. I don't see any way that it could possibly have been a penalty. We do have the benefit, I guess, of replays and everything else. But even at the time, it was quite clear it wasn't a penalty. I've seen some comments as well, you know, from people like Steve looking through Twitter, and you know, well, Zach Jules gave him a decision to make. I tell you what, the same person would have been tweeting, "Why didn't Zach Jules tackle him when he skipped past him and shoved it in back of net?"
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Can't win.
A stupid comment. It didn't give him any decision to make. You know, the player just skipped one leg behind the other and threw himself on deck because he was going away from goal. It's a trick as old as football itself, and a referee of that experience should not have the wool pulled over his eyes like that. That is really, really poor. So, and like you mentioned at the time, Matt, goals change games. They do, and that could, and probably 3 or 4 weeks ago would have cost us 3 points. So, you know, he's got to do better. A man of his experience and alleged quality has to do better, and that's not good enough. And there were other occasions during the game where, you know, nothing as blatant as that, but it has to be better. Has to be.
Yeah.
Just a side comment on it. I thought he had hair the last time I saw him.
He would have done, yeah.
So do you think the fact that he's gone bald means that he's even more useless than he was before?
Come on, me and you, mate, we've got to stick up for this.
Nick and Scott are going to do their own podcasts.
That only applies to referees, by the way.
It did make me chuckle that Kevin Nolan in his after comments criticised the referee, which I thought was a bit strange because I mean it was poor in general, but I actually thought at first the reason to give the penalty was probably because of Kevin Nolan, because of his ex-Premiership connections and because he was a name. It like Mick says, there was zero chance that there's ever been a penalty. I can't see any reason why I give it apart from just being inept. That's it.
Yeah, and you can tell by players. Steve's was at the game says, never occurred to me to even look at the referee for a penalty. So obviously no contact watching live. And Tom adds, we turn it around, but decisions like that can cost managers their job. And let's face it, it was awful. Yeah, at half time, Scott, we're all sitting there thinking, that's a big decision. That is a huge decision because of how we know we are affected at the minute by adversity. We're all sitting, not only are we frustrated with ourselves because it weren't good enough after the penalty, but you're frustrated because somebody else has kind of come and just gut punched you rather than us being bad and making a mistake to go 1-0 down. It added to that half-time frustration, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like I said, I'm not saying that we played particularly that well. Like Kev said, I think we were the best of two bad teams in that first 20 minutes. But we did have chances, and then you know that you get that, and it's clearly not a penalty, and you just think everything's against us here. And Matt, I'm sure, must have been thinking this could cost me my job because it's stuff like that could, as daft as it sounds. But yeah, I mean, I think he came out. The change at half time was positive. Clearly, you know, Sharif weren't. Maybe he's not match sharp. I don't know. I think at one stage I thought he had Doc Martens on instead of football boots. That did he got in, didn't he, down side and touched 5 yards straight out of play for a goal kick. But you know that's probably been a bit harsh on him. I think he probably just needed a bit of experience up front. Kind of.
He needed somebody with him. I think he was playing up front on his Todd, wasn't he, in the first half?
Yeah, I think that's probably fourth or fifth game for us, and first to start up front on your own were a big ask. But I think from our time the changes, and now we've gone on and finished the game. It's all positive, I think, from that.
Yeah, I agree. I love Sheriff. We'll probably talk about it on Thursday, but he can't play up top on his own at the minute. He needs help. He was so much better when Hugo came along. Come alongside him. Gordon Grant says Mick and Scott podcast. Those Mitchell brothers.
Sorry.
Where were you feeling half time yesterday, Kev? We obviously see social media, but where were you as the season so far? Everything's going against us. Were you kind of resigned to it being another one of those days?
No, I actually backed us to win at half time. We got 6-1 as well for buzzing.
I did well.
I just fancied it. Like you just said then, we need that bit of a break, and it does feel like sometimes everything's going against you with decisions like that I made. But even though we weren't brilliant, I still felt Northampton are a poor team, and I thought I suppose I had a bit of confidence in making some change at half time, and I've got to say I'm his biggest critic, but Jordan Hugo were absolutely fantastic. He changed that game. He worked hard. He battled for the ball. He did some clever passes, which I didn't even think he had in his locker. To be fair, spread it a couple of times, and that header, it just gave us that bit of quality, and that's what frustrates me about it. And that's why I'm his biggest critic, because that's what he can do. He's not a super sub. He's too good to be a super sub, but not good enough to be starting. It's crazy, because that's what we know Jordan Hugo can do, and he proved that.
It's good enough to be starting, Kev. But he's just not performing when he does start.
Well, I want to see them. I want to see them performances, that hunger, that desire when he starts.
Absolutely, 100%. And he's got it, like you said. He is good enough.
Brilliant.
It's just I don't know why it doesn't happen.
That was a really good header as well from Hugo. On the face of it, it looks a really simple header, but it was a great ball from Baptiste. But it's got a lot of spin on it, and to kind of cushion it into the right path and to have the awareness of Rafferty's there as well, and it's better to do that than rather go for goal. Good play.
Unless you did go for goal, and we're all wrong.
It was not only did Hugo come on, Steve, he came on for Reece James, and Joe Powell pops himself in at left wing back and was absolutely brilliant at left wing back. Who saw that coming? That as a left wing back, Joe Powell might be the answer, Steve. He was just brilliant there.
I don't know. Like Kev, I still thought at half time, I thought we've got a chance in this game, because apart from the penalty and a couple of scrambles, they weren't very good. It was a poor game first half, really, all told. Yeah. But then when he brought Hugo on, I said to my dad at half time, I said he needs to put somebody up with Sharif, and he did. And Hugo, a couple of touches, I thought, he seems to be on it here. And I think, Scott, I saw the same bit of skill that you did. It was almost like a pirouette and then a layoff. And I thought, good God, he's like a ballerina. But yeah, Powell down the left-hand side. I mean, what was it, left-hand side, right-hand? He was the opposite way.
Left.
Right, was it left? But I don't know, I thought they all really played well. I thought Baptiste caught my eye purely and simply because he'd had such a rough game against Bradford.
Yeah.
And all right, Oldham, he was all right. It wasn't his fault that we were so poor, really, in the first half then. But I thought that ball onto Hugo's head was an absolute stormer. I mean, you think to yourself, he's got some talent in his feet as well. He's just not a kick in the head, is it? So he's the one that stood out for me at some stages, some of the things he did. But yeah, all round, second half, as soon as Hugo started to give them something to think about, they never got the ball. It was excellent. It really was. They had a chat, they reset, Hugo came on, bang. Spence made a difference as well when he came on as well.
Yeah, absolutely did. Yeah.
Made it even better.
Yeah, he did, absolutely.
This is too positive, by the way.
It is too positive.
Far too positive, this.
Let's find a negative in a minute. Well, I'm sure we can find one.
I'll start clapping in a happy way.
Gazza says, me and my dad were puzzled when James came off, as realised Powell was at left wing back. Turned out to be a great decision. Yeah, it is. It turned out to be a brilliant decision. We'll talk about the goals, mate. We'll talk about we'll talk about Spencer non-base substitution in a minute, because I think that's massive to the goal. But let's talk about the actual goal itself as well. The first goal. It was one of those goals that had three go-on moments. The ball that comes into Baptiste, you go, go on. And the ball over to Hugo, you're doing the same. And then the ball comes back over to Rafferty, you're doing exactly the same. It's just a fantastic goal. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a well-worked goal. One of the best worked goals of the season so far for us, would you say?
I think there's been a lot better.
Okay.
I think there's been a lot better worked goals, but nevertheless, that's not to decry it in any way. It was a really, really good, patient build up, playing it around on the edge of their box, and they had no answer to it. And like you said, the little dink into Hugo from Baptiste was just perfect. So yeah, we are starting to play some football. There has been a number of occasions on this season. Unfortunately, I'm using the phrase this season rather than in a number of games, but there's been a number of occasions this season where we've played some absolutely glorious football, some really, really great one-touch stuff, and quite a few times it's led to a goal, and that was one of them. So as long as this continues, if it continues and we can do it more and be more consistent with it, we can be a force to be reckoned with. They are a very, very good side. No, there are some very, very good players in this side. What we need to do now is to make them a team, and that feels to me like it's starting to come. It's very, very early days. It's very early days for a group of players of the average age that they are. They've got a lot of maturing to do, but like you talked about Baptiste, he is maturing. He's got to mature. He's got no choice because he's playing full-time first-team football because we've got nobody else to put there. So he's getting massive experience and getting involved in business end as well, like he did yesterday. So it was a really, really well-worked goal, yeah. I'm really impressed with it.
I got a comment from Chris that says, watch how much room Rafferty makes in gambling that Hugo heads it back across. Yeah, absolutely, Scott. And we'll heap more praise on Jordan Hugo because I don't think there are many players in the squad that do what cushion that header like Hugo does. Sharif goes for the shot, Nombe goes for the shot, Baptiste goes for the shot. Everyone I think they just go for the header on goal, and probably they don't like to score from the kind of that angle. Hugo's quality and his calmness under those circumstances, as much as the ball for Baptiste is beautiful, it's Hugo. It's just perfect. And nobody saw Rafferty coming in. None of us saw Rafferty gambling. But Hugo's done just fantastically well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought the ball were really good. And like I said, it had so much spin on it. It was perfect. And time sent to move slow. And I'm thinking, what's he going to do here? Is he going to edit? Is he going to try and bicycle kick it, do something stupid? Or is he going to fall down? I don't know. And then when he first edited it, I was thinking he'd gone for goal. I think one of the comments said they don't know if he went for goal. But I've watched some replays back, and I think he does have he's seen Rafferty make that run, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think it's a simple header. You got to deal with the spin. You got to not under it, not over it. It was perfect, really, weren't it? And I mean, I feel like we deserved it as well. We're just getting on top, and time's ticking by, and we're not getting that goal. And then that two bits of quality from Baptiste and Hugo, and then you saw as soon as the goal went in, the team, I don't know when, Rafferty ran and got ball. Yeah, and you could just, and you could just see the team seem to lift. Like they were celebrating, but it was straight back to get in position and let's go and get win, and that was good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we should kind of underestimate Keane Spencer's impact on the goal as well, Kev. That little interchange with Denzel Hall on the right hand side, and Spencer's. I don't think McWilliams did that. I certainly wouldn't have done it yesterday. I think it was a poor game at Williams, but it's an easy pass. It's a very easy pass, but somebody had to do it. Somebody had to have that composure. I thought it was really, really good, but I think that shouldn't be forgotten as well, the Spence part.
No, definitely not. I like Spence. When we first signed him, I thought this could be a good player. He unfortunately his injury. He's come back in the scored a screamer against Oldham. I thought he was brilliant on Saturday. I really like him, and just more options. This is what we've all been saying for weeks now. This is the problem we've been struggling. No options on the bench and all that, and he's getting them back slower now. It looks like sadly Tete's out for the season, for a period of time, but it's a bad one. But bring some with Nombe's back, which is an absolute bonus. So let's not rush him. But Hugo, Nombe, Sharif, keep them three fit. Get someone else in January. And I think we'll be well. I've said all along we'll not go down like someone else just put there. There's no way we're going down. And we're 9 points off playoffs with a game in hand. That's all I'm saying.
That's nothing at this stage of the season. We're only 3 points off 13th. Something like that. It's just. But then had we lost, I think we've been 5 points adrift in the relegation zone. So it turns out to be a really, really important victory in the end.
Just about while we're on that. Sorry, I was saying going back to Bradford, Oldham, and then the Northampton game. Both Northampton goals are brilliant. Both Bradford goals are brilliant. The Spence goal against Oldham were brilliant. We're scoring goals from different. They're all different goals as well. Screamers, headers, tap-ins. They're there. And I think it's coming good. I can just go good feeling about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point, Steve. Because what we found last year under Evans was goals were just kind of happening. There was some really good goals, particularly from Alec Wilkes, but they just kind of happened. It didn't feel like there was a flow to the game, or I don't want to say a plan, but it just felt like there was no ideas behind them too much. Whereas this year, all the goals do seem to be coming from that area of quality. And not only quality, like Kev just mentioned, so many different varieties of goals so far this season. We need to be better, obviously, but in certainly the last 3-4 games, we've started to show that there is quality and a variety of quality from different players.
Yeah, Kev's bang on. I mean, it's a bit of a sad moment in that the in-off Nombe's arse will no longer be a thing. Because that's the sort of goal we were getting last year. We just didn't know where they were coming from, and they were a surprise. But yeah, I mean, you look at all the goals that we've scored in the last week or so, and it's that some of them are such quality. I mean, I just saw on Twitter this afternoon, on an EFL site, top 5 goals from yesterday included both of ours.
Yeah,
unsurprisingly, they put Rafferty's first, frankly, but yeah, it's a sign that we've got good players. As Mick says, we have got some good footballers. Everyone's got a different quality. I think they're quite a disparate bunch. They just need to gel together, and you can see that coming. Some of the passages of play are just nice to watch. Sometimes they're a bit slow. Sometimes they don't go anywhere. But by God, when they actually work, it's fantastic. I mean, Denzel Hall's goal against Bradford. I mean, crikey, what a goal that is. And you could go through the others. I mean, you look at Spencer's 30-yarder. He hits it with his instep, for God's sake. Yeah, he didn't hit it with his laces. He hit it with his instep. Yeah, it's really nice to see, because we haven't seen that kind of quality for quite a long time, have we?
No, we absolutely haven't, no. And it's feeling like it's clicking over a period of games. It's not just yesterday we're talking about, is it? We're talking about the Bradford game and the Oldham game as well. It goes 1-1, Mick, on 71 minutes. Rafferty gets the goal. At that point, where's your head at? Because obviously Nombe had just come on, Spence had just come on, Hugo had come on and been really, really good. All the subs were working, but we weren't peppering their goal. We've only had 2 shots on target, which obviously 2 goals. But at the same time, we were in complete control of the game. Did you feel a sucker punch coming, or did you feel like that win was there?
I didn't feel like a sucker punch was coming. No, because they had very little. They were exhausted by the time we sort of got that equaliser. They were almost out on the feet, and by 10 minutes later, they were out on the feet. So I wasn't too concerned about that. We were in charge, absolutely. We were completely dominant in that second half, probably for the full 45 minutes, arguably. But you're right. There's still not enough chances being created. But it's one step at a time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you can't just. Well, you can. I mean, you can expect, I suppose, for there to be more chances created given the dominance we had. But I don't know. It's not a worry for me at the moment. You know, if in 10 games' time we're still playing some nice football and being completely ineffective in and around box, then it might be a different matter. But I don't think we will. I think there's a development all over the pitch. It feels to me, and I think that will come. There have been games this season when we've had Lord only knows how many shots on target. You know, so it's not every game that we're only having 1 or 2. The Barnsley away game in the Cup, for example, I don't know, Lord knows how many there were, 10, 11 shots on target, 20 odd throughout. So we are capable of doing it. But it depends on the opposition, doesn't it? It depends on the way the game's going and everything else. So, yeah, it may be a worry for future, but at the moment, I'm not too concerned about it personally.
Yeah, to kind of feed off that, so you look at the players that were on the pitch at the time. Josh Benson obviously did score. Joe Powell can score. Denzel Hall can score. Dan Gore can score. Hugo's got the quality. Sam Nombe will score 1 in 2 chances that you give him. Now we're able to make these changes. It's showing that we've got players on the pitch that you wouldn't be surprised to see any of those got the second goal yesterday. There's not many goals yet on the board, but it feels like there's lots of goals in that team.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like when Nombe just being in the squad and then coming on, I think that straight away gave everybody on the pitch, from our side anyway, and crowd a boost. And like I say, I'm not sure if it was something that Amshaw saw at half time, because I must admit I was surprised when Powell went left wing back, but in hindsight it was a perfect move because they offered absolutely nothing going forward. Powell literally he was just a left winger. He didn't really have to go back apart from covering a few corners that came out of things. I mean, his crossing still went great. But if some of them crosses come in, we're putting a lot more crosses into the box, and if we can start getting them a bit, actually, giving the strikers some chances. We've got two men up there in Hugo and Nombe. I think it just looked a lot more positive, a lot more. They're in intent, weren't they? We weren't just taking a point. We weren't just happy to get back in it. You could just tell they expected to win the game. I thought we really went for it.
Yeah, you can see that confidence in them, definitely. Let's touch on go to the Benson goal, Kev. Let's start by kind of taking our Rugby United hats off for a second.
Yeah.
The referee thinks Denzel Hall is fouled. Is it a foul?
If it had been against us in the 88th minute, 22 yards out, I'd have been raging, mate. But I think, about time we got Robert Green, I think, and about time we had a bit of luck. I actually do think it was. It looked like a foul to me, much more so than that penalty game. So I think it righted it wrong. But what a free kick! First thing I thought was, please don't let Powell line up for this one, please. Because Ben, obviously I live in Barnsley and I know a lot of Barnsley fans, and when we signed Ben, they're all saying what an outstanding quality player he is if he keeps fit. Obviously, a couple of weeks back, I thought it would look like he was done for him. He deserves a pass in Emmerdale because the way he went down and went off pitch, some quality acting there. I thought he was done, but he's just got that bit of quality and that bit of brilliance, and he can hit a ball like that. That won't be the first. If he stays fit, that won't be the last time we see that this season. Sure.
Yeah, I agree. My instant reaction was I thought it was a free kick. Instantly, I thought it must have been fouled, but I don't think he was. But Tom Swift, Phil, Steve, not a foul. Same contact for the
raging if you're against us. So
yeah. Didn't the player get booked as well? Or
no, somebody got complained for somebody got booked for complaining.
Right. Okay.
I think that's what Kevin Nolan was referring to. Because I think the referee's decisions went against us pretty much majority of the game until that incident. So that's probably what he's referring to.
Yeah, I think so. Benson scores, Steve, 88th minute. When we score late goals, it's normally, like you mentioned earlier, Nombe's arse or Nombe shins it in from a yard out or whatever the case may be. It's quite rare to score a very, very good late goal. But you could just feel, we were only watching it on telly, but you could feel the sense of relief in our house and it came through the telly, the players and the fans. It's such a moment of quality from a fantastic player as well.
Well, going back to the question of time, a couple of steps behind. As soon as Rafferty scored, I had this overwhelming feeling that we were going to win it, which is very, very unlike me, frankly. And you're right, we didn't create a lot, but we had so much ball, and we were actually moving it forward. And it was a lack of quality for balls into the box and the decision making before in front of the box and so on. And they were defending for their lives. But as soon as that free kick was given, I thought, oh, Benson's good at free kicks, isn't he?
Yeah.
And like Kev's just said, I was praying that, you know, what's his name, Powell wasn't going to take it. But I don't know whether you make on the aftermatch. I think you mentioned that he'd probably lined his wall up for Powell. So it's good that you've got two people at the ball. But if we know deep down that Benson's going to take it, then it makes our lives a little bit easier. But what a take that was! I even jumped off my settee, which takes some doing nowadays. But yeah, it was a moment, and you could tell again that moment with the crowd when people were going balmy and all the players were with him. You know, it just warmed the cockles a little bit, and it was even better when the game finished, evidently. But yeah, a goal like that instead of an in off the arse is much preferable.
Does anyone think it was poor goalkeeping? Because as a cynic, as a critic, like there's only two places that ball can go, left or right. And I get what Mick says. The wall will lined up like it's going to be left foot. But I don't know. It just didn't seem to get no idea, and it weren't in top corner. It was. It's still a brilliant free kick, don't get me wrong, but I think if that had been Cam Dawson, had been criticised for not saving it.
Well, I think he was actually wary of Powell. I don't know what information he'd been given before the game, but yeah, he was sort of just edging towards the Powell angle. Which, you know, well, that's his. To be quite honest, that's his problem, frankly. And
you've got to commit left or right to save a free kick. Clearly
and the wall was over. I watched it again today after what Mick said last night, and the wall was further to the left, our left. So, but again, who cares? It's just what a strike.
The issue was that the wall was over for covering a left footer, but so was the goalkeeper.
That's
what
I'm saying. The goalkeeper. If Powell hits it, it's going to hit the wall or go over it. Left a massive gap. Surely the goalkeeper should have gone to the side thinking Benson going to hit it for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Serves him right for time wasting.
It does, absolutely. But to be fair, let's keep. I think Benson's seen all that because we saw against Mansfield how he tries to pin in top bins. He's obviously seen the gap, and I just put in the right area. Because I know where the keeper is and I know where the wall is, and obviously it's done it for us, which we're all very happy with. Very happy with. Paul Road says the minute he hits it, we were off our seats, cracking goal. Bailey Ryan Vernon says sorry, the players more than the fans would have been upset with the draw. You could tell they could smell a win. Mick, and it's twice in a week. Not only is winning a habit, as we've seen from our great seasons. I'm not saying this is going to be one of those seasons. As we've seen in the past, scoring late is also a habit. Evans has warns teams. It's a habit you can get good at if you have the quality, if you have the fitness, and they just have that energy about them. Like I thought, I agree with Steve to an extent. I felt like we were going to do it, and the players obviously got to the line, and that'll feed into next week, and it'll feed into 3 weeks' time. That we've got it in the locker to not only come back, but to keep going to the 89th minute, 90th minute, and to get it over the line. It should give the players an incredible boost.
Yeah, well, fitness shows, doesn't it? And it certainly showed on Saturday. And if you can get into that habit of scoring late, what a habit to get into that is. You know, because 99 times out of 100, it wins you a game, scoring at 88th, 89th minute or whatever. So there's a lot of positives to take from it, from the last 3 games, 3 performances overall. Not only the performances, but the body language and the actions of the players and staff as well. It shows that this is a team. This is a team, and now all we've got to do is allow them, give them the opportunity to show that they show the quality, and I'm sure that will happen. We've got bags and bags of time in this season, so it is very, very positive. And coming back twice from a losing position can do nothing at all other than give you confidence. So it's very, very positive at the moment. We've got to keep building on it. Obviously, we've got to keep building on it, and there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work still to be done. But mentally, it appears that they're starting to get in the right place. And pushing till 95 minutes or whatever it is a good indication that confidence is there now. And that desire is definitely there. So it's all good stuff. I'll have to find a negative. We can't be this positive.
Well, Mike bring us down to it. There's nothing like an away win to pump up the stir of pure optimism that this season is on the mend now.
Mike.
I'm going to counter that, Scott, by saying that we're all sitting here saying Northampton were rubbish yesterday. I'm sure Northampton fans will say exactly the same. But 7 clean sheets out of the last 8 games for them. I think they've won 4 out of the last 5 games. This is a team who are in a fantastic run of form. And yeah, we consider Northampton rubbish, but shouldn't we be saying we made them rubbish? Shouldn't we be giving out ourselves the credit in the second half that they were bad and they looked bad because of us?
Yeah, absolutely. Seven games without conceding, and we made them concede.
2.
Sorry, Scott.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I mean, I think it is a bit of a poor League One league this year, but you can only play what's in front of you, and we've been poorer. I'm saying it's a poor league, but we've been quite clearly one of the poorest teams in the league at the minute. But we can all argue about the factors for that and why we think we'll start changing now. But I mean, people say Bradford won't finish top or second, and I'd probably agree. But I think there's not been many games really where we've been bad throughout. I think we've had good spells throughout, and I think now we seem to be getting, touch wood, some important players back. I think before the season you would have looked through the spine of the team and, like you'd have said, we want Nombe every game. Benson quite clearly now has shown he's one midfielder, probably along with Gore, that is going to be a key part of that. And defence is where we've been hampered a lot as well with constant injuries, and then we've got a lot of inexperience as well. So, and we're pinning a lot on Holmes after one game. But you know, you think if we can get some consistency with a kind of settled spine of Holmes, Benson, Gore, Nombe, we should start flying up the league. I'm not saying we're going to do anything in particular, but you know, we're definitely not going to be. I think I listened to Kevin Nolan's interview after, and he alluded to the fact that we were getting some players back and a position, a false position, and you know, to words to that effect. I'm sure he said they're getting some players back, and it's not the table. We're not. The game won't be at how the table is shown at the minute. So yeah, I think, you know, just wait for next week now when Nombe's done his hamstring again. And
yeah, absolutely. It was only 6 minutes left with the injury time we played, Kev. But for those 6 minutes, what was also a positive is there were no panic stations. We managed the game out brilliantly, and this is from a team that doesn't have Tom Holmes, and we're all saying he's this guy that we need to be safe and secure. But we managed it out perfectly, and again, that shouldn't be. Again, we can all praise Josh Benson and everything else, and we should. Yeah. We've got to praise that defensive solidity by just shutting them down completely.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Northampton didn't really give us much threat, and I think that helped. But normally in a game when we're winning 2-1 or closing the game out, we almost look like we're panicking and. Fans fear what can happen. Like the Bradford game, we can't, as much as it were very, and again, a referee's mistake and then defensive mistake cost us it, but we almost knew they were going to equalise in the Bradford game. And yesterday, I couldn't see them getting back in game. I didn't even cash out my bet. That's how confident I were. Not when I took a lot out, but I didn't. I left it because we just looked more comfortable. We looked like we got a bit of confidence back. Scoring late on in the game always helps, obviously, things like that. But we just did look more confident. And I think we should, like someone just put in comments there, he's right. We probably shouldn't we are very positive and we're having a great evening, and we shouldn't get too carried because we are still third bottom. Yeah. And we will probably get slated for being happy clappers and being a bit too positive. But no, you've got to have that bit of hope and that bit of belief, haven't you? And I just think, I don't know, I think the feel good factor is there. And yeah, we're still third bottom, but we all can see that it's coming back. I'm sure 99% of fans can see it as well, and long may it continue.
Yeah, if you can't be positive after a late winner, when can you be positive?
I'll tell you what we're impressive though. Kevin Nolan's belly. Where's that come from? That's impressive.
He's pregnant.
Yeah. Nick News says 43 minutes in, I still haven't heard any direct praise of Matt Hamshaw. He's learning as well. Yeah, we were definitely going to come to it, Nick, I promise. But Steve, that's 2 games in a row. Again, it's the Virtue Trophy, so it's less so. But that's 2 games in a row where all the substitutions have paid off dividends. And I'll come on to Nombe in a minute and his impact. But we absolutely should be praising Hamshaw. The change for power, which we already mentioned, in left back, fantastic. Spencer Williams, fantastic. Nombe, Hugo, it was brilliant from Hamshaw yesterday. He did fantastic.
He did, yeah. He did all right against Oldham as well. After one of the most putrid first halves I've seen in years. And he knew what was wrong and he corrected it. And we won the second half 3-0. So that's the problem when you're a manager. You know, you live and die by those sorts of decisions as well, because everybody knows better than you. You know, well, why didn't you make any subs? I mean, Warney always used to get castigated because he used to wait too long, allegedly, to make his substitutions. But yeah, each of the substitutions he's made in the last 2 games has worked excellently for the team. It's made the team, it's improved the team. What he does in terms of the starting 11 for Leyton Orient is, again, you've got to question it. I mean, Martha comes back, doesn't he? But he's not going to be back until late, and he's the other side of the world at the minute. So he'll probably not bother with the first team. And Lenny's coming back. And to be quite honest, I'd put them both on the bench, and I'd start with the team that ended on yesterday. Have we got a game on Tuesday?
No, thankfully.
It's a clear week, isn't it, this week? And then we've got City a week on Tuesday, haven't we? Or is it Bolton?
It's week after next is the game, I think.
But yeah, I mean, he's got a clear week with the players. I mean, yesterday when Nombe had his first sprint, like Scott, I was hoping and praying, I don't want anything to twang here, but he didn't, and he looked really happy to be back, which is superb. Yeah, credit due to Matt Hamshaw. I mean, I want Matt Hamshaw to succeed. Everybody, I think, on this podcast does. I don't want him sacking. I mean, I've had a debate with my lad. My lad texted me at half-time yesterday, and he said, I've had enough of him now. He needs to go. And he says, we're in a relegation struggle. We're not in a relegation struggle. There's 36 games to go. That's loads of points. We could, as you say, we can win promotion from here. Yeah. I doubt whether we will, but at least it's a positive feel tonight. And if you can't enjoy a win by being a bit positive, then what's the point? I mean, we could come on here and start thinking of negatives, but I'm not, because I'm quite excited that we won yesterday. After 3 years of absolute garbage, we've won a game away from home. So, tick. Well done, Matt Hamshaw. Well done, the players.
And deservedly won it as well. A couple of those wins last year. A couple of those wins last year were wins, and you're not going to not wins, but we weren't great in a lot of those wins last year. We were definitely the better team yesterday. Yeah. Nombe Mick, he came on with about 20 minutes left. And sometimes we talked about this yesterday. Your wife criticised you for being negative about Nombe coming back, because when you build somebody up and they come back, it's never as good as the first time. But I think there's a good chance we don't win that game without Nombe yesterday, because of the work that he does. There was a moment in the first where we won the ball on the kind of edge of the centre circle, and he gained us another 20 yards or whatever it was. Nobody else at the football club can do that. Hugo can hold up, but he hasn't got the legs. Sheriff can't really do that either. And the energy and the work rate that he puts in, I think we'd have fell short, to be honest with it, without Nombe, especially for the first goal. I think the first goal was helping get the pitch, I think, from that play. But I think without Nombe, we don't win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for pointing that out, actually, because I don't remember her criticising me, but then I don't really listen, so that'll be why. So, yeah, no, you're right. He added that spark up front. He added that spark, that pace, and that's where the press is going to come from. That is where the press is going to start. You know, with the greatest respect to Sharif, he's not that kind of player at the moment. He's a young lad, he's inexperienced, he should not be leading the line. But, you know, Matt Amshaw allowed him to do that for the first half, and it didn't really work. And that's not a criticism of Sharif. You know, that's just that he's a young kid. He's got to learn, and he's playing at this level for the first time. When Sam Nombe comes on, you can see instantly the difference, and he adds so much more to that attacking. He creates an attacking threat, doesn't he? Just by his presence. It's great to see him back. Absolutely, but he ain't the saviour of this football club. You know, he's part and parcel of the solution to the problems that we've got. Is integral to that, but he's not. He's a good player. He's a good player, and he's worth every penny of the £1 million that was spent on him in this day and age. There's no doubt about that. That's despite his goal scoring record, which ain't great. You know, he adds so much more, and it's another one of those players that until he's missing, you don't realise quite how much he adds. Or if he's been missing for a while and then he comes back, and all of a sudden you realise. And yesterday showed that, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's me wanting to not have such a great last 2 months, though, because if he gets 5 or 6 goals between now and Christmas, January could be interesting.
It could be, but, you know, if it is though, Kev, you know, it's going to go. We ain't going to be letting him go for less than we paid for him. So, you know, if we make a profit on him, I don't want him to go, but that's what this is all about. That's what the plan that Matt Amshaw's wanted to implement is built around, isn't it? You know, just going back to Matt Amshaw, about the being no praise for him. I think for me, the praise for Matt Amshaw should be that he stuck to his guns, despite all the adversity, despite all the criticism. He stuck to his guns. He stuck to the way he wants to play, because he knows what these players are capable of doing, and I'm absolutely convinced that he will be proved right in the end, if assuming that he's given the time, which I'm sure he will be. So he deserves some praise, but he's learning his job. So he's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go, but he's sticking to his guns, and that I feel like I'm saying that, and now I'm thinking back to last season. You know. And to be fair to Evans, he stuck to his guns. Yeah. They were firing blanks, but he stuck to his guns. You know?
But Evans was an experienced manager.
Yeah.
I'm sure isn't. So I'm sure, and the team and his coaching staff are all learning. Dale Tong is a pretty experienced coach because he's worked, but I don't think he's ever been a manager. No. So we are looking at, you know, inexperience right the way through.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be great if they learn together and they actually do pull this off, and we become a better team and a more successful team. It'll be even better.
Yeah. And what's the best way of supporting somebody who's inexperienced? It isn't telling them how crap they are and the fact that they should lose the job, is it?
Absolutely no. You actually you get behind them.
Absolutely.
You just get behind them. One of the comments that you showed earlier on, Matt, where somebody who'd been at the match said there was no negativity. I think that was fantastic. It came over on the Sky Plus, you know. Yeah. No booing at all, and I could hear them singing as well at times, and really credit due all round, frankly.
I think what the fans full stop this season, the fans that have been at the games this season have been a credit to the club so far this season. They've been fantastic.
They generally are, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. But it would have been very easy for this season for us all to be fed up and boo every time we lose again because of what's happened previously. It would have been quite easy. But there's been so little booing so far this season. There's been some, obviously. But just in general, the fans that have been at the game have just, like I said, they've been a credit to the club. They've been fantastic. On Hampshire, we maybe need, as us criticising him, is being inflexible and stubborn. Maybe need a small slice of humble pie as a podcast. Because like Mick said, he stuck to his guns and it's obviously paid off. But Mike Miller, wasn't it only this week that this podcast seemed to be booting Hampshire out if nothing changed by December? I think so.
It's not December.
It's only October, last time I checked.
It's not December, mate. I don't remember that, but I said probably more likely to be saying we should be questioning whether or not it's the right decision in December. Maybe we'll have a look at it then. But for me, nah. I've said personally, I don't know if I said it on here. I might have just said it in private to Matt. You know, if we start next season in League Two with Matt Hanshaw as manager, yes, I'll be disappointed, but I still won't be saying let's get rid of him as long as we're seeing that improvement, and we are seeing that improvement, and that improvement will keep us comfortably in this division. Yeah. Comfortably.
Yep, agree.
I agree. I completely agree. Harry says thoughts on the hammy fist pumps.
Not as good as Steve Evans. That's probably the only thing he's not as good as Steve Evans.
Sharif, he was copying Sharif, wasn't he?
Was it?
Sharif did it. Yeah, Sharif did them. I've seen a fan's video where Sharif does it. So I think all of that, I've said before, all of that is brilliant. I love it. It just makes me feel good.
I'm not a fan, but it also came from the fans. It came from the fans building it up, and you can't ignore that, can it? You know, the fans are doing it. You've got to.
That bit what does me. I don't like that.
It's what it is. It's 15 seconds of stuff in it.
Yeah. But the fans would have loved it. So, Daisy says big shout out to the fans that did the 100-mile walk to Northampton. They should do it every game. I have. Sorry to break it to them, but they've now got to walk to every single away game. So thankfully, Barnsley's the next one.
When's Exeter?
Yeah. Neil Jordan Sheriff started it. Players loved it. Fans loved it. That's what it's about. Spence, Scott, we mentioned Spence a little bit earlier on, just in terms of the goal itself. But we'll talk about it later on next week. But how close would you be to starting Spence over McWilliams? Because McWilliams was very flat on Saturday, and Spence is much better on the ball than McWilliams. It's incredible. The levels aren't even close in terms of on the ball kind of thing. And where do you sit on Spence? Because I thought it was really, really good yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen too much of Spence. I know when we signed him, I looked at the Twitter or X, and we can get a feel for the old club, and they were all saying, good on him, he deserves the step up. I do like the look at him. He's quite ratty, isn't he? But he has got some quality as well. I think the problem is going to be that, based on Saturday, you'd probably think McWilliams, if you're being a bit critical, weren't as good as the other midfield. I thought Dango and Benson in particular were really good. Yeah. The kind of problem's going to be, I suppose, is Benson in first half were more on the left. I'm not sure. I thought, and I think he moved more central when Powell went left wing back. I know he kind of kept coming out a bit to left, but I thought he had a bit more freedom. So I don't know if McWilliams were to drop out, if Benson would take that more central position.
Interesting to see. Steve, as the president of the Dan Gore Fan Appreciation Society, just talk about Dan Gore, because we've asked him to play deeper, and he's maybe not impacting the game in a forward area massively, but he's still kind of everywhere at the minute, and it continues to grow game by game for me. I thought it was really, really good again yesterday.
Well, every podcast I say he's a lovely footballer. I think wherever he plays, there's a certain quality about what he does generally. I mean, when you consider his age as well, and really this is his first real stint in men's football, I think he's got such quality, and you see why he's at a Premier League club. I mean, he moves the ball. He might not run with it at times, but he always tries to make that pass to somebody who's in a better position. I love watching him play. I think his energy as well, and he's also got a bit of a side to him as well. So he's not afraid to get stuck in, really. And if anybody irritates him, he'll just give him an elbow. But I just think never fall in love with a lone player. But oh God, I wish he was one of ours.
I know.
But love him to bits. Loved him just on the Peterborough performance. The end of last season, I just thought he's got to come back, and we got him back. And I think generally he's had a couple of poor games, but generally is integral to what we do. He really is.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And that midfield, Kev, is starting to look a bit balanced. I think is the word. They're all good players. They're all good players. But we're starting to see much more balance in there with Spence and with Benson and everything else that goes along with it. That's going to be key to having a good season midfield, and he's starting to click into place now.
Yeah, definitely. Balanced and competitive. I think that's the good thing. I mean, I think we've said on this podcast from day one, the midfield for me is our strongest department when they're all fit, and I think that's starting to show. Dan Gore, I completely agree with Steve. He's just a joy to watch. Now, I can see him playing at a much higher level. I'm not sure. I'm not saying he'll play at Premier League, but maybe lower. He'll not play for Man United, but he may play in the Premier League for somebody else. But he just got that. It seems to have everything. And he's a young lad who's still learning the game. to have what he's got at such a young age, the bite he's got, the tackles he puts in, is the way he works. I watched him off the ball the other week, and he just does everything right. You can tell he's been brought up at a proper football club, if that makes sense. But yeah, the midfield's looking strong, and long may it continue. It's about time, because last year we didn't really have one. We didn't know what his best midfield was at any time, and who was going to play it. Was it a Doffin? Did you play centre back? This seems really settled and competitive, and I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Competitive, exactly. Next week, Spence will probably come in from McWilliams to Pool, but then the week after, you won't be surprised seeing McWilliams back in for somebody else. There's competition for places for the first time in what feels like forever. I'll go through a couple of comments that I've started, then we'll talk about FA Cup draw. Brian Vernon says, 3 games unbeaten, turning point, green shoots, just be patient. Lord Jordan says, hate to admit it, but Hugo changed the game. Best 45 minutes we've seen from him. The Miller says, Benson is a class player on the ball, need to keep him fit. Paul Rhodes, right, we're not going to have time to mention Cam Dawson this week. We may well put mention it on Thursday, but Cam Dawson, we mentioned for him because far more confident, came out for crosses more than normal. Yeah, it was much more commanding yesterday than he has been. And Steve says, even in the short time he's been out, forgot how impressive Monday can be. He didn't give them defenders a second and kept us up the pitch. Paul Rhodes says, Mick, there's a Terry's chocolate orange advent calendars for you in Iceland.
Oh, Paula. Iceland, I'm on it. Are they in Iceland, or are they just advertising them? I need to know. It's important information.
Paul's going to let us know. Right, on to the FA Cup draw. Monday evening, around 6:40. Unless you've got TNT Sports subscription, you have to watch it on YouTube. Don't ask why. Stupid. But anyway, I've clipped up the teams, the non-league teams. You all know who's in the Football League. These are your non-league teams that we could play. So there's a few in there. Mick is. Am I going to the wrong person, Mick? Do you care?
Well, I'm not on. Yeah, I'm not here anymore. Look, I've gone.
I can't move it. I can move you.
No, it's like, don't do that. Oh God, no, thank you. Who do I want to play out of them?
You can pick a league team if you want a league team.
Nah, I'm not bothered about that. Where do we fancy? Truro? Bottom of Premier, not Northern Premier, National League. I think 22nd, 23rd down there. So we'll have Truro.
Might be Scunthorpe or York. A bit of reminiscing going on.
Yeah.
Halifax be good, won't it?
Halifax is a good.
Oh God, years.
That's about it.
York when they've got a new stadium, haven't they?
Gateshead is opposite end to Truro.
Yeah.
We don't want Eastleigh, do we? Because that's too far. Have we got a choice in this? Is that what you're telling me?
They're all too far.
That's
you
true.
go to Southend again, Braintree, Chatham, Western-super-Mare. I mean, bloody hell, you're halfway to Land's End there, aren't you?
Buxton, that'd be a good one.
Which one?
Sorry?
Buxton, 54, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Buxton, yeah.
Tamworth. I'm close to Tamworth here, about 30 miles away.
We can have Carlisle at home, and they can play Georgia. We can do it for Georgia Kelly. But Northampton away incoming probably. All into each other. We'll find out tomorrow. We may do a 10-minute show tomorrow briefly for the FA Cup. That will be a conversation we need to talk about later. Phil says, "Don't matter. We're out anyway."
Absolutely right, Phil.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's why the FA Cup first round draw is good, because there's still the dream of getting past a couple of rounds.
First round.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gainsborough, Paula Rose says, Gainsborough would be good. That's not with that's the Old Out Road. Yeah, there we go. Anything else anybody feels like we definitely need to mention tonight that we haven't already? Because we've already gone long and we've not mentioned a few bits.
No.
No, okay.
Sound. Thank you all for watching tonight. If you haven't done so, check out the instant reaction yesterday, which was me and Mick. Very, very happy. Longer than we normally do for those ones, but very happy. Make sure you subscribe. The subscribers are gradually going up now. Just over 80 now needed to hit to 2,000. So if you keep subscribing, that would be lovely. Scott mentioned Tete's injury. We'll cover that on Thursday when hopefully we've got a bit more information about it from Hamshaw's presser. News headlines. Richard says, right, I asked everybody to give us some news headlines on yesterday's game. So I'm going to read you some out and you can all pick your winner. So I asked people on social media to pretend you work for the newspaper. Bailey Vernon says, another game of two halves that shows it can still be a season of two halves.
Too long.
Brian Vernon.
It's too long.
Too long. Well, if Millers fans discover patience pays off.
Some Millers fans discover patience. Yeah. You could tell that the fact we played Northampton and their nickname helped some people as well. Paul Johnson says, no away wins. Benson says cobblers to that. Shoe Army given the boot by the late Miller's goal. That's from Paula Rhodes. Nick Newsom says Benson boom. And last one is Craig Orr says Benson edges it late on as the Millers put the boot in to the cobblers unbeaten run.
Benson edges it. That was literally that's won it for me.
I like that. I do like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like Paula's.
Yeah. Your winner, Scott?
I'll go with Benson edges.
Yeah.
I agree. We'll do it again. We'll do it again because I enjoyed that. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to us. Those subscriber numbers are ticking up gradually. Thank you very much. We may be back to Monday, but if not, we'll be back Thursday, which will be a preview of Leyton Orient and any injuries that comes up alongside there as well. And we'll get a scout report done. But to find out what's happening with Leyton Orient, they might not have a manager next week, potentially, when we play them. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with Richie Wellens going somewhere bigger and better. But we'll find out next week what happens with that. If you're listening iTunes, Spotify, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, whatever it allows you to on your particular provider. Yes. Thank you very much, Mick. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Steve. It's been a very, very fun episode that we can smile about, which is always very good. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jepson, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
What's got round the back? And Richie Wood has done it again.